and we are ready for you.
Awesome. We would love to see you all's faces. Maybe at the end, we'll allow the cameras on. It's just for security reasons. I guess there was some mishap over the pandemic. So we just kind of play it safe for now. Oh, wait.
Yeah. No, yeah, I let them, it's a small group, so I let them turn on their cameras. They
Oh,
just
awesome.
can't unmute themselves, so you won't be talking to black boxes.
Well, good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Just back in my presentation mode. All right, everybody can see well.
Yeah, that looks good.
Here we go. So, welcome to Girls on the Run San Diego. This is our team. Anna Maria is our director. We have Joe, who's also on the call with me. She's our
Hi.
program operations manager. Kayla is a program coordinator. So you come on as a coach, you're going to get a lot of communications from both Joe and Kayla as far as like your logistics and getting organized. You've been hearing a lot from me. I'm the marketing and operation. Marketing operations. I'm the marketing and outreach manager. And we have Sandy, who just came on. She's development and fundraising, and Lauren is the magic behind our 5K. She just did the one in fall for our fall programming last weekend. It was phenomenal. I highly recommend you check out all of our videos and pictures on social media. Our Facebook album has hundreds of photos, and then we have like really cool clips and videos on our Instagram, just so you can relive a little bit of that magic. It was awesome. Pretty epic day.
A lot of fun.
This is us, the 5K. Smiles, having fun. So just going into who we are, is our mission to inspire girls to be joyful, healthy, confident, using experience and evidence-based curriculum, which creatively integrates running. We envision a world where every girl knows and activates her limitless potential and is free to pursue her dreams. So that's a little, sorry. That's like kind of more to like the bigger mission of what the company about, but really it's about just like creating these awesome opportunities for girls to not just build the physical strength and the and just those social emotional skills, but really empower them to see themselves as leaders. There's some really cool components that we'll go into later on, but it's just this really great transformative experience that we try to introduce to the kids. Running is great because it's sort of this template for teaching about goal setting. I was a runner myself in college, and it just gave so much structure to my life, and having that exposure to running at a very young age, I think just gave me a template for how to just continue to remain active moving forward. And so that's like what we're hoping to see, that we're giving a foundation for that appreciation for physical fitness, but also then those social emotional components that we're instilling in them. And then the leadership empowerment that they get, that continues to give them confidence when it comes to high school and college, and then in their professional settings. So, you know, just trying to have like this really great sort of long-term impact in their lives. We have empowered over 2 million girls since 1996. A little bit about our impact. We've partnered with over 200 schools in San Diego County. We have served more than 200,000 participants between the ages of 8 to 13 all across North America. We have more than 11,000 participants who that we've served in San Diego County alone since 2006. And we have teams in over 30 school districts throughout San Diego County. So we're trying to take over. But like the whole point of having so much growth is to be as accessible to as many kids as possible. So not just limited to specific neighborhoods, but like we go far out into North and East County, down into the South Bay. So just making sure that any child who wants this opportunity, they can get to it. Let me just play a quick little film that talks a little bit more about our impact. Audio here.
Girls on the Run has a ripple effect across our community and all the families that we serve.
Girls that do Girls on the Run are better able to manage their emotions, that they make intentional decisions, and that they feel connected to their community. As a school counselor, I've seen a lot of social emotional bully prevention curriculum out there. This one allows for self-reflection that I don't think I've always seen in the other curriculum.
It's not just something that would be nice to have, it's something that they really need, because I've seen the difference that it makes in young girls' lives. It's something that starts in elementary, where you plant those seeds and then you're able to see those seeds grow.
It really brings together our school community with our staff and parents and cousins and aunties and uncles and everybody coming together to cheer on our young women who participate in Girls on the Run. It's exhilarating. It is so great seeing them clapping, cheering them on, and the look on our young people's faces, the pride, the smile, the sense of accomplishment. It's really uplifting for our whole school community and our families.
I think every school should have Girls on the Run.
Oh. Awesome. So yeah, you don't have to take it from us. That's just a little tip, a little video on just the impact that we have. Just to share a little story on how I came to find out about Girls on the Run. I used to work for Adidas, and part of how Girls on the Run nationwide can find some volunteer coaches and people to get involved is that we have a lot of corporate partnerships. So Adidas is a national partner of the program. And they reached out to our office to say, hey, you guys want to come volunteer at our 5K run? And this was when I was living in LA. And, you know, and in my mind, I'm like in my track coach hat, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, you know, I'll come out there and I'll, you know, I want to see what this is about. And, you know, I was like kind of amazed because I'm at the race. And I'm like, where's your timer? There's no winners at this race. What's going on here? Like, what, you know, this is so different. And, I really love just kind of learning how this program is more about emphasizing mastery and celebrating the whole team crossing that finish line. It's more about just like celebrating and honoring the journey, and the medal moment at the finish line for the kids. It's just really exhilarating. It's super just heartwarming to see. Like, they're really proud. It's so cool to see them rally for each other. The kids who kind of finish in the front, they all, you know, rush back to welcome all their teammates and cheer them on as they come to the finish line. So it's just really cool to kind of have that different shift and let everybody be celebrated for the same accomplishment. But back to sort of why there is a need for our program. So some of the research that's backing this curriculum just begins to just sort of describes like this journey that a lot of girls have, at least in North America. So around the age of 10, self-confidence in girls and our physical activity levels begin to decline. And I feel like this research, just given the time that it was developed, these figures might be a little bit more exacerbated, just given like the impacts of social media and just like access to phones and stuff. Like, we just see kids like plugged into the screens so much more than they ever used to be. And with that screen time, yes, you're less active, but then you're just bombarded by all of these like media images that are, you know, really going to be damaging to some of your self-image. So that's starting to happen around ages 9 to 10. And then, you know, of course, all of the other social conditioning that kind of like silences girls, shushes them, tells them that, you know, it's better and more acceptable for you to be likable, for you to be quiet, better to be seen and not heard. Your opinions aren't really so valued. You know, being minimized for, you know, their physical and intellectual capabilities, having their credibility challenged just because they're girls. And so we're trying to show them like, hey, like, you can be really proud to be a female. None of these things hold you back. Let's show you what you can do. Let me help you recognize your powers and your strength. And, you know, we use that whole template of the training and the social emotional curriculum to help them get there. So at the heart of our programs is this idea-focused approach, social emotional development, and of course, physically accessible activities. So as you know, when parents reach out to us and they say they have a child who has certain needs that need to be met, we really do our best to be very accommodating. Here in the corner of this slide, this is Dr. Maureen Weiss. she is the researcher who provided the evidence behind that sort of supports the longitudinal long-term effects of our programming. Liz Coons over here, she is the CEO of Go2Rai. And this is Ali Riley, who's the Senior VP of Evaluation and Programming. This icon over here, this is the when you do our coach training. This is sort of what the portal looks like when you click into it. It's a really cool, super robust, but quick. I think it's like 3 hours, right, Joe? 3-hour training module that we put our coaches through. And then we also have an online component, in-person component.
Yeah, right now, depending if you're a new coach or a returning coach, it can vary between 1.5 to 2 hours. And then there's an in-person component where we go more into depth about that online training. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, please go ahead and I'll let take the lead on this one.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is my my forte, all about programming. As Chris mentioned, I'm the program operations manager. So what I'm responsible for is making sure that once you are onboarded with your team, that everything that you need to be successful happens. So we provide you with everything that you need for your season to make that happen with your Girls on the Run team or your Heart and Soul. The reason there are two programs, as Chris mentioned, there's evidence behind our curriculum and the lessons that our participants are going through with their volunteer coaches are intentional to what those girls are experiencing during that moment in their life. So for example, for Girls on the Run, the program and the lessons are for those that are in 3rd to 5th grade. We recognize that some elementary schools or academies also serve 6th graders, so you have the option of lumping in those 6th graders with that programming. And then our Heart and Soul program is specifically geared towards our middle schoolers, so 6th to 8th graders. Regardless if you're a boy or girl, however you identify, there's different challenges that you might have encountered growing up that look very different from when you were in elementary school than when you are in middle school. And nowadays, I think it's even harder to be a teenager or even our 3rd to 5th graders. I see a lot of myself in them, but I also see new challenges that they're experiencing. So we have lessons for them that help them manage the social emotional growth that we are mentioning. So for example, we have some lessons that focus on expressing your emotions, how to converse with your classmates, your family, your teachers, right? We call it stop and take a breather. And then we have the girls practice it through that running component. So we kind of break down the big idea or the objective into smaller components, and then have that running activity in between for the girls to reflect back on what the concept or the big idea may be. Both programs are 10 weeks long. However, the schedule is different depending on whether you do Girls on the Run or Heart and Soul. For Girls on the Run, the programming is 90 minutes for where teams meet twice a week. And then Heart and Soul is 120-minute lessons with once a week meetups. And all of our participants and coaches are automatically registered for our 5K end of season celebration that we just had in the fall. In the spring, we'll be hosting our 5K at De Anza Cove on May 7th. And one of my favorite things that both programs have is a community service project that the girls either come up together as a team and plan and implement, or for Heart and Soul, it's more of an individual project that they do away from meeting with their team, but then come back and discuss the challenges. So the glows and grows is what we say within our team, the challenges and then all the good that happened. And I forgot to mention, if you have any questions, we'll do questions at the end, but throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to put that in the chat. All right, Chris, I think I covered the basics of programming.
Yeah, like that, the community impact project is awesome. That's like where the leadership and like inspiration comes from for them. When I send you guys the link to the recording of the video and the slides, I'll also include a link to a recent article by the La Jolla Light talking about the La Jolla Goater team and what they accomplished with their community impact project. They had some, like, I just love the ideas that the kids have. Let me see, what was one of my favorite ones? I think it was Felicita. The girls made like cookie care notes and packages for their classmates. And they were really trying to get these messages to kids who had parents on deployment. So it's like little things even like that. I know at Pablo Talk, the kids wanted to, I don't know if it was Christmas cards or just like care cards to the custodial staff and some of the other support staff at the school. So it's just like, just really empowering them to like kind of see the positive impact they can have as leaders. So it's really cool. So this is kind of the phase that so many of you are in, and with our emailing and me trying to provide you with the answers that you need. How do you start a team? So the first step is identifying that team liaison, and that person basically goes to the site director or the principal of the school and lets them know, like, hey, this is what we want to do. We want to bring this program on campus. Do we have your permission? We only need verbal authorization. Written is cool. And that's what, honor system, you kind of report that when you do the application. So that's the first step. We have to have that in our system, because then our software allows us to populate your school as a drop down whenever your coaches want to go and do their applications. So this application will also ask you to identify like where you plan to host practices. So we typically recommend that you have a designated classroom where all of those supplies that Joe and Kayla will hook you up with, you can take those supplies, have those stored there in a safe place where they're always accessible. You can find them and prepare for lessons from week to week. And that's also going to be like your headquarters for the team, so that they all know where to meet. And when we report like where the practice start time, that's where they all know where to go. Then, and that's also for probably the first half of your curriculum will take place in the classroom. It's more of those like discussion-led lessons and some of the small activities. There's sometimes the games will break up into smaller groups with the two coaches. Then the second facility that you have to identify in the application is your outdoor space, and highly recommend that it is a nice open area. It could be a track, it could be turf, it could be a basketball court, it could be a secured blacktop, just a nice open area, because then the bulk of the physical component as the season goes on is this progressive running training. So it starts out small, just getting them used to running for like 5 minutes at a time. They have lap goals that they establish each week. And it just progressively builds up until they're like comfortable running for that 30 to 40 minutes, which is, it's a lot of kids finish under 30 minutes, but yeah, that's typically about the time frame, about 30 to 45 minutes, like a 15-minute mile that most of the girls are running at for the actual 5K day. So it's a progressive program. So they are definitely prepared by the time they get there. The second part of the application will ask you to identify your coaches. So you just put their names in there, and then they'll send in their own application later on. You set your team practice calendar and schedule. You get to choose the 2 dates or the 1 date that you want to meet. Definitely just kind of do a little asking around on your campus, see if there's other like big sports or things that a lot of kids also do that might create some conflict. We kind of recommend you don't pick Fridays or days where you tend to have a lot of off days. However you pick the calendar and your start date, you want to make sure that you can fit in all 20 sessions in 10 weeks between the start date, which is mid-February, and the May 7th 5K. We have some teams, we try to put you towards the front half, so like the week of February 6th, so that if anything happens and you have to cancel a practice or you have to miss for any reason, it's okay. There's like a buffer of about 2 weeks at the end. You can just tack it on at the end. After you've done the application and you've turned in your calendar, Your coaches submit their applications and then we put them through the coach training. Well, I don't, but Joanna and Kayla set them up for coach training. And we'll provide those dates and that information, but we do try to make that accessible too. There's a North County location, a South County location. We did the team application and then after, while all of that's going on in the background, we're supporting you with participant registration. So once I have all of those components in, and I know that your team is locked in, we're going to be making your team flyers, getting that information back to you. And you can also reach out to me to let me know, like, hey, would you like us to come table at your school, help pass out flyers at the pickup line? We come speak at school assemblies, however we can help support, get the word out to the kids, get them interested and fired up about the program. We want to be there to help fill up the teams. So yeah, and in case you missed it, the max number of girls for a GOATR team is 20, and for the Heart and Soul teams, it's 15, minimum of 8. And this is just kind of breaking down the responsibilities of the liaison. You can, so just like a little breakdown, you can be a liaison and not be a coach. That's completely cool. You can kind of be the person who champions the program, spearheads it, helps the coaches coordinate. Maybe it's your classroom you're letting everybody meet and use, but you don't quite have the bandwidth to coach. That's completely cool. You are just the main point of contact for caregivers, perhaps. You attend the pre-launch info meeting with our staff. So that'll be Joanna and Kayla, just kind of review the season logistics. You help with distributing the team flyers. We also have electronic versions. We have them in both Spanish and English. You help the caregivers access those registration forms. Oops. You collect if you have the physical forms, the paper forms, you're collecting those forms and those payments. And we will coordinate collecting those items from you. And yeah, you're just like a great program advocate. So that role is super important. We definitely understand that the coaching commitment can be a bit long, but this is a huge first step, because without the liaison, at least getting the application done, a lot of it just can't really get into motion. And then the coaches. So we have a coach and then we have an assistant coach. The main difference is that the head coach has to be at least 21 years of age. They have to be female or femme identifying, and they are CPR first aid certified. Everybody who comes on as a coach has to undergo a background check if they are not school staff. They complete our online training education. They come to our in-person training, and everybody has to be at least 18 years of age. So, college students are great candidates, school staff, parents, caregivers, PTA members, just anybody who's like a caring, compassionate, competent community member who wants to be, part of this like youth empowerment experience. That's what we're looking for. But we have the application because we do care to vet who comes along. Non-runners are welcome. We don't have a requirement about running. Definitely love and are excited when runners want to coach, but not a requirement. And then just here's some of our resources. So for the liaisons, of course, we're providing you the option of the paper online registrations. We support that whole infrastructure and provide that for you. I work on getting you your marketing support, and we provide weekly communications to the parents. We also have really awesome volunteer appreciation perks and events. The participants, they get the curriculum, they get the activity sheets and journals, they're getting t-shirts and program materials, they get the mentors, the coaches are everything. They really love their coaches. That's just a really special bond you get to form with them. They get a safe space for authentic expression, and they get to learn how to be themselves around adults and also around their peers. I know for me as a kid, like adults never really conversed with children. That was like not really something that was a norm. So even as an adult, like it was a little awkward for me to like just to kind of like have conversations with other adults, just because, like you look up, you're like, oh, wow, like I'm 20 years old. I have to talk to other grown people. So just kind of empowering them to like, be able to express themselves and like share their thoughts so that, they don't have those sort of confidence impediments. And then of course the Unforgettable 5K, that's included in their registration, plus the finisher's medal. The coaches get the training. And that training, it's really, I mean, I've done therapy in my life, and I thought that, like, I'm a pretty like emotionally competent person. It's just amazing, like, how enriching it can be, and like the little lessons and the stuff you kind of catch yourself like saying to yourself after you've taught it to the kids. It's just, yeah, it's really really enriching. It's great for all ages. An opportunity to connect with a compassionate community. We love our volunteers. We love our coaches. If you're just looking to make friends, just to meet people, just continue to build your own sense of community for yourself, this is definitely the place to do it. We have awesome people who are affiliated with this community, and yeah, that's just like, that's the true heartbeat of it all. They're just really special folks. Coaches get the 5K event registration, and of course they're invited to all the volunteer appreciation hangouts, and they get it on the perks. And then for the caregivers, we have the weekly communications, and the communications, Joanna can go into more detail, but they're basically keeping them up to just keeping them abreast of what's taking place week to week, giving discussion prompts so they can like kind of follow along, and also help the kids, integrate some of those lessons into their home life. We have the grown-up guide that fosters connection and dialogue between the participants and their caregiver. And then we also have financial assistance. So we'll go into that. So the funding tiers, and you don't have to get too bogged down on this, but we just, like, for transparency, would I just like explain it? So tier 1 schools are schools in which 75% or more of the students qualify for free and reduced price meals. Tier 2 schools, it's a range of 75% to 55% qualifying for those free and reduced price lunch meals. Tier 3 are less than 55% are qualifying for those meals. And we adjust the cost based upon those metrics. We get these metrics from the California Department of Education database. It changes from year to year based upon what the schools update. So you might be a tier 1 school this year, next year you may not be. So, it's, just if you were a team that qualified for team funding, I don't think any of you all are on this call are, but teams that had qualified for team funding before, it's not guaranteed based upon that history of team funding. However, you could be a tier 2 school that, has a shift in demographics. You can apply for tier 1 funding next season if that's something of interest to your school community. So we definitely try to help out with that. And what comes with the adjusted cost is like, it's $15. There's additional resources that comes with that. For tier 2 schools, and most of you all on this call will fall into tier 2 and tier 3. It's $140 per participant for the entire 10 weeks. Tier 3, there's no adjustment. That's $240 per participant for the entire 10 weeks. But of course, we have financial aid. So just kind of reiterating that. So financial assistance, I'll let Jill.
I can take lead of that. So in terms of transparency, I don't want you to be threatened by the $240 per participant or the $140 per participant. The tier system is newer because as an organization, we recognize that there's no black and white. There's a little bit of gray in the middle. And there are some communities or areas in San Diego County that are more economically advantaged than others, but it doesn't mean that, those participants that are in a school that doesn't qualify for funding, that's their case. So we offer individual financial assistance to families. So if you are part of that tier 2 and tier 3 group, any participants on your team that receive any type of government assistance or equivalent aid automatically qualify for that $15 reduced registration fee. There's military discounts, $35 off that registration, family discounts for the second registration, 15% off. If you are a coach and you sign up your girl, you get a coach discount. There's also a payment plan paired with any type of financial aid. So families pay the first half of that registration at the beginning when they register their girl, and then the other half 2 weeks after registration closes. And then we also have an income sliding scale. So it's depending on household item and gross annual income. Our overall goal is just to serve more girls throughout San Diego County. So we try to make it as accessible as possible. We've had tier 2 teams whose entire team qualified for financial aid, and that the only way that happened was for them to reach out to me, right? So I reduce barriers as much as I can. All they have to do is reach out to me, and we provide all that information to team liaisons and coaches. I also speak Spanish, so I know some families are more comfortable speaking to a Spanish speaker. I just ask them a simple question. They tell me what they qualify for. I give them a discount code, and that's the end of it. I don't ask for any type of documentation or proof. So again, our overall goal is just to serve more youth in San Diego County.
Thank you. And so, yeah, we're pretty much at the end. So the important things coming up, your applications are due by January 16th. So you have time. It definitely helps to get it done now while you can still sort of get a lot of those questions asked and kind of get like at least get a good gauge on how many participants you think you might be able to recruit. Tamara, you had asked, what if you can't meet the minimum? And I'm guessing like that's the minimum number of participants. That's rare that like happens, but the sooner that we get the application in, and your site liaison is working on that. I think she said she's going to submit it tomorrow for Ada Harris. We do a pretty good job of helping with that. Like I have your PTA put it into their newsletter. We use Peach Jar if your school has that to share the flyers with parents. Like we table at different races and events. Like once we kind of figure out where we're going to be geographically, so that's kind of rare. I mean, now hitting the max number that doesn't always happen either, but we're pretty sure we can help you get to 8. So sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, Chris, to interrupt. The other thing I was going to mention, if your school is open to receiving community participants, that's also an option. Something we forgot to mention. It's totally up to you if you want to keep it close to only students from your school or also open it up to other participants. But we do everything that we can to make sure that you meet at least that minimum. It won't be the first time and it won't be the last where we're trying everything. Like I've done assemblies, I've done school visits, we've done tabling. If you think of it, we've probably done it, and the success rate is pretty good. It's rare that we have to cancel a team due to low registrations, but it has happened.
And then your season launch is again, February 6th to the 20th. You get to choose those dates. And I would definitely consider like if you want to pick the week of the 6th, but you're going to miss the second day of practice that week, just switch it to the next week. So just kind of being mindful of that. And then that 5K event is May 7th. We invite you to connect with us. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. Of course, you can always email me, Facebook, and our website always has up-to-date information. And then our newsletter, you can always subscribe to our newsletter. The next one comes out Monday the 19th. Definitely check out our gram, especially if you just want to see what some of the coach trainings look like, see what some of the practices look like. We have like reels that just, like 20 seconds, 30 seconds or less, just little sneak peeks at what happens in those sessions, what it looks like. And I think it just really lets you get a good sense of what the vibe is and just the structure of the program. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Let us know. I think we can unmute you guys if you'd like. And we're happy to answer your questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
If we are not successful in having one in Ada Harris and we want our daughters to participate in one, do you just have to reach out to one of the other ones and see if they're open for community participants?
Yeah, that's correct. when we get closer to January, when most of the team applications are due, I make all of that information public and it'll be up on our website. But always feel free to ask us, let us know your location and we can help you find a team that may be open to community participants.
Cool, thank you.
So, hi, I am foreseeing that we might have an opposite problem, because, or whether it's a problem or not is debatable, but our district is going to be covering registration costs with some special funding. And so my co-coach and I were just wondering, like, how do we approach this? If like in terms of recruiting kids, and because we're probably going to max it out. And we'd love to, and we're willing to, but like, how do you select, how does that work when you really don't have the financial barrier? How do we handle that?
Yeah, great question. It really depends on, we try to give you as much autonomy as possible when it comes to that. A couple suggestions I can give you, if you maximum is 20, we can always try opening up another team, but you will need the support of more coaches, because we want it. The reason we have a minimum and a maximum, it has to do with the content of the program and the flow and the conversations and the activities, right? There's a certain minimum of participants needed for the activity to work, but also like there's such a thing as too many and it can get a little crazy. Not that practice doesn't get crazy, but so the option is to open up another team and make sure that you need that minimum number of coaches to open it up. And we'll give you another coach bag and supplies, so that team will have their own things, like treat it as another team. And then the other option is, if you don't have the capacity to have more coaches, is to have an interest list. And maybe we can opt in for paper registration for your team so that families aren't going online. I can give you online access or paper access, and then you can do a lottery system. So whoever turns in their registration, maybe first come, first serve, or if you have more than 20, it'll just be at random.
Oh, so with the way it will be is they will be signing up online?
So that's up to you. If you want the families to sign up online, or you want them to use paper registrations. So
Yeah.
we'll give you a digital copy of the paper registration that is just as good as an online registration. And we'll get into more details of like how we collect those and the money and all that. So your family's the best. Maybe some families, don't have the access to the internet or a computer or a smartphone. So we recognize that. So we give teams the option of doing paper registration.
Should we ask for teacher recommendations, or should it be open to people volunteering,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
From what I've heard from some schools, they try to just serve girls who they feel they really need it, like challenging students, right? That can present a challenge in itself, because then you have a group of really challenging students. So I would definitely talk to your teachers and your counselors if they recognize that someone will definitely benefit from the program. Maybe make a priority for them, or like I said, make it a random lottery.
Okay. Awesome. I think that paper option could help with that, if we're getting some, recommendations from teachers versus filling it up the rest with volunteers. It'll be easy to manage on paper.
For sure. And if you decide to go online, we could create a special discount code for your school that you'll share with families. So since you are covering the registration fee, nothing will be coming out of pocket for them. And then we just invoice the school later, or whoever is making that donation.
And
I'll check with them about that part of it.
yeah,
Right.
Katie Baker is your liaison at Reedy Creek, right?
Yes.
So we can also look it up, and I can email you which registration form you guys had submitted. But and I'm pretty sure at USD we're not allowing any like outside.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I didn't know you were with Reedy Creek. Yeah, EUSD, don't worry about the payment, the discount code.
Right. That'll be
special funding. Yes.
And no community members will be allowed in you guys' team. So yeah, I mean, and then your district, the way that agreement works, they're funding up to 23 teams. We only have applications for 10 schools right now. So like you could definitely have 2 It'll be first come, first serve. How many? So like if you anticipate, so like what's going to happen this week is teams like yours where we have your coach apps and we have your team app in, we're going to start beginning to make your marketing materials. And we can allow your kids, if online is what was chosen, creating like this kind of waiting portal where we have like those names of those registrants. We don't, we can hold it and then it'll be up to you guys to say, hey, this was first come, first serve. That's who we'll hold spaces for. If it's paper registration, of course, you'll have access to who was first come, first serve. And then if you want to open up another team, you'd have some time to go and try to find additional coaches. And yeah, your district, I think is still fine with more coaches being added.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Appreciate
Yeah, thanks so
Thank
much.
you. Any other questions, friends? All right.
Oh, yeah.
I have one question. I'm here with Tomer.
Oh, okay, hi.
We're a couple here.
Okay.
I just wanted to know when it comes to scheduling the practices, is it always weekdays? Can it take place on weekends? What's the
Totally up
Guidelines.
to the team, whatever the availability of the coaches is, then that's what the schedule is. Traditionally, we've only had Monday to Friday. We've been wanting to try out weekends because there might be more engagement from families for them to do it like a Saturday. So we can pilot it with you guys to see how that goes.
Yeah, I think Catherine's going to reach out to you guys because she'd asked me about that today. Like she sent me an email and I was like, oh, you know what? I think like the Gutmans are going to be on the call. She's like, oh, I can't make it tonight, but I'll try to reach out to Christina and see what their availability is. And we can always like, there's time. So when we open up participant registration and that's when it's like kind of locked down. It's like, okay, we got to have everything secure. But like right now, as you're figuring it out, you can put something in the application that like makes sense, but then if it needs to switch, that's no big deal. I just delete some things and put new things in and we make it work. It would be cool to, especially like if you're concerned that you might struggle to get enough participants, a weekend could help, especially if you want to open up the team to community members. So
Right.
Yeah, I think that, my biggest concern is how some kids who might really be interested and might really benefit from it, who are just already super scheduled kids, how they don't, get put off by the time commitment, required.
yeah, that's definitely a workaround that we've been sort of trying to find solutions for. As just some of our schools that have like a few more resources. The athletic teams, then there's soccer, and there's like all these other sports and after school things. So the weekend could definitely help. And I let Catherine know, like, hey, just kind of figure out what's happening on campus, see if there's like other after school things or stuff that's happening that you don't want to conflict with, so that like those kids are available. But then getting the registration process early, like at La Jolla, we're giving them their marketing materials tomorrow too, because of the same thing. They're like, it's so competitive. We have STEM things, we have music things, we have, just all the things at that elementary school. And they're like, we want to make our team bigger. So, the sooner we can get you your stuff, I think it'll help before the parents like lock up the kids' schedules after the. But yeah, thanks so much. How are your kiddos doing?
They're good. Yeah, I mean, we're hoping that we can make it all happen. It sounds like, I have a friend in Vista High Tech. His daughter did it. She's now in 7th grade, but she did it when she was in 5th or something. It was during COVID actually. She had to do like the solo 5K, but they had such great things to say about it. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Our systems and policies are always changing. The more that we hear from our community and our coaches and liaisons, like the needs of you guys is how we adjust the registration process and the funding and all that. So we always welcome feedback. So Tomer and friend, I didn't catch your name. Christina. Yeah. If you want to try out a weekend, I'm all for it. This season, we had a middle school do the program in the morning and then the other half in the afternoon. That was for our middle school program, and it worked out great, right? So we won't know until we try it.
Yeah, but nine, so they started like 6:30 in the morning or something.
They had a late start, so they started at
Wow.
8 and then finished before the sun went down in the afternoon.
Okay.
And then the days get longer in February.
Yeah.
Now you guys are in
Awesome.
Solana Beach, right?
Carter.
Yeah, Encinitas,
Cardiff.
Cardiff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, yeah, you guys do a weekend. I'll definitely come up there. I want to come see. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any questions, Lisa? Anything I can help you with? Cool. I love your Christmas decor. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. Yes. I guess my question is, what exactly does it mean to have school support? I've been talking to our principal, and he sort of is only envisioning like two different models. One where the school is just like, hey, we'll publicize it for you, or the full on, this will be a student organization, which doesn't sound like it would work with, you know, their student organizations are all student run, student whatever, and this is not a student led program. We have coaches. So do I just need him to say it's okay if we use the campus? Is that basically it? Or is there anything else that we need to get in terms of support? Because I'm sure he would say that you can use the campus, but anyway, I guess what do you need in terms of support from the school?
Yeah, it just we've in the past, before my time, we had some teachers or counselors, you know, parents who signed up their school, and the site director or principal had no idea. So we're trying to avoid that. So that verbal agreement, it's just that they know this is a program that's happening in case parents start asking. If we start calling, they're not in the dark. They know that it's happening. So yeah, it wouldn't work if it's a student-led program. As we discussed, we need adults there. So you would need the help of either colleagues, and if just like participants from the community can join the team. If you your campus is open to community volunteers, we also have a pool of volunteers that apply to be coaches, and we can place them based on their location and their schedule.
Oh, great, thanks.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, we won't keep you guys. Of course, you have my email address. I will be in touch. Hey, Vanessa. I will be in touch with the recording. I'll send you guys the slide deck and yeah, the link, and then any other information you guys need. I'm available on the weekends, evenings, obviously. And yeah, just let me know how we can be of support.
Thanks
Thank
so
you
much.